The year is 1868, a pivotal moment in Japanese history. Japan, once a land of emperors and shoguns, is reborn. The ancient traditions and feudal systems that had defined the nation for centuries are being swept away. The Meiji Restoration sweeps away the old order, propelling Japan into a new age. This era of rapid modernization and reform transforms the country from an isolated feudal society into a burgeoning world power. From this revolution, a new force emerges: the Japanese Imperial Army, or IJA. This army is not just a symbol of military might, but a representation of Japan's newfound ambition and determination. Tasked with protecting a modernizing nation, the IJA quickly absorbed Western military thinking, particularly Prussian doctrines. This adoption of advanced strategies and techniques was crucial for Japan's aspirations on the global stage. Universal conscription, adopted in 1873, provided a steady stream of manpower. Every able-bodied male was required to serve, ensuring that the army was always well-staffed and ready for action. This wasn't just about building an army. It was about forging a new Japan. The industrial growth and infrastructure development during the Meiji era laid the foundation for a powerful and modern nation. Victories against China in 1895 marked Japan's emergence as a formidable military power in Asia. These triumphs were celebrated nationwide, boosting national pride and confidence. And a shocking triumph over Russia in 1905 cemented the IJA's place not just as defenders, but as conquerors. This victory was unprecedented, as it was the first time an Asian power had defeated a European nation in modern warfare. These early successes, however, planted the seeds of what was to come. The confidence gained from these victories began to shape the nation's military and political strategies. The IJA developed a taste for expansion, a belief in its own invincibility. This newfound confidence led to aggressive policies and territorial ambitions. This growing arrogance, coupled with a sense of destiny, would set Japan on a collision course with history. The nation's military ambitions and nationalistic fervor would eventually lead to conflicts that reshaped the world. The 1930s, a decade marked by global depression and rising militarism. Japan, feeling the squeeze, saw its military as a solution. The IJA, no longer content with mere defense, saw an opportunity to secure resources and dominance in Asia. Expansion meant manpower. The IJA ballooned in size. In 1931 it boasted 240,000 soldiers, 1,200 tanks, and 2,000 aircraft. By 1941 these numbers had skyrocketed to a staggering 2.2 million troops, 4,000 tanks, and 5,000 aircraft. This military buildup consumed a staggering 70% of Japan's national budget. This wasn't just about numbers, it was about speed and modernization. Japan's industrial might churned out increasingly advanced weaponry, designed to match anything the West could field. The IJA was becoming a force to be reckoned with, spoiling for a fight. Manchuria, 1931. A region rich in resources and strategically significant, it became the focal point of Japanese imperial ambitions. A staged incident, an explosion on a railway line blamed on Chinese dissidents. This was no mere accident, but a calculated move by the Japanese military. This was the pretext the IJA needed. In a swift and brutal campaign they overran the region, establishing a puppet state. The world watched in shock as Japan's military might was displayed. The world, preoccupied with its own problems, did little to intervene. Economic depression and political turmoil elsewhere meant that Manchuria's plight was largely ignored. Emboldened, the IJA had drawn first blood. China, 1937. The Japanese military, confident from their success in Manchuria, set their sights on further conquests. Another incident at Marco Polo Bridge near Beijing, this time a firefight of dubious origins. The tension between the two nations reached a boiling point. This was the spark that ignited the Second Sino-Japanese War. The conflict quickly escalated, drawing in millions of soldiers and civilians into a brutal struggle. The IJA, convinced of its own superiority, expected a swift victory. Their confidence was bolstered by their advanced technology and previous successes. They would soon discover that China, vast and determined, would be a far tougher opponent. The Chinese resistance was fierce and the terrain was challenging. The fighting in China was brutal and protracted, cities were devastated and the human cost was immense. The IJA, despite its technological edge, found itself bogged down in a bloody war of attrition. The initial confidence gave way to the harsh realities of prolonged conflict. Yet these early victories fueled the flames of Japanese ambition. pushing them further down a path of no return. The desire for expansion and dominance would lead to even greater conflicts and consequences. The rise of the IJA cannot be separated from the rise of militaristic ideology. This wasn't just about conquering territory, it was about a belief in Japanese racial superiority, a divine right to rule Asia. This ideology permeated all levels of the IJA, from the lowliest foot soldier to the highest ranks of command. At the helm of this war machine stood General Hideki Tojo. A man of iron will and unwavering ambition, Tojo embodied the IJA's ruthless efficiency. Appointed Prime Minister in 1941, Tojo became the face of Japanese aggression, his name synonymous with the coming storm. Under Tojo's leadership, the IJA became an instrument of a totalitarian state. Dissent was crushed, individual liberties sacrificed at the altar of total war. Japan was now a nation on a war footing, hurtling towards a destiny it could no longer control. Section 5, Day of Fire, Pearl Harbor and the Pacific War, December 7, 1941, a date etched in infamy. The early morning calm at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii was shattered by the roar of Japanese aircraft. The IJA, in a daring and meticulously planned attack, struck a devastating blow against the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Battleships exploded and sank, their twisted wreckage a testament to the ferocity of the attack. Over 2,400 Americans lay dead, the victims of a surprise attack that shocked a nation. The sleeping giant had been awakened, and its fury would be terrible to behold. The Pacific War had begun. The IJA, riding high on their initial success at Pearl Harbor, embarked on a lightning campaign of conquest. Hong Kong, Singapore, the Philippines, all fell in rapid succession. For a brief moment it seemed as if the IJA was unstoppable. Section 6. Turning tides, the Empire strikes back. But the IJA had miscalculated. The United States, its industrial might fully engaged, poured resources into the Pacific. The tide began to turn. At Midway, in June 1942, the IJA suffered a crushing naval defeat, losing 4 aircraft carriers and hundreds of aircraft. On land, the IJA faced a different kind of enemy, the unforgiving jungles of Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands. The U.S. Marines, battle-hardened and fiercely determined, fought tooth and nail for every inch of ground. The IJA, used to quick victories, found itself bogged down in a brutal war of attrition. The IJA, despite its reputation for fanaticism and fighting spirit, began to crack under the strain. Supplies dwindled, casualties mounted, and the once vaunted Japanese war machine began to sputter. Section 7. The Setting Sun, Road to Defeat. The year 1945 dawned with the IJA on the defensive. The once mighty empire was shrinking by the day. American bombers pounded Japanese cities, reducing them to rubble. The home islands, once considered impregnable, were now within reach of American forces. Still, the IJA fought on, fueled by a desperate hope that they could inflict enough casualties to force a negotiated peace. But the end was inevitable. In August 1945, the United States unleashed a new weapon of unimaginable power, the atomic bomb. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 2 cities obliterated in the blink of an eye. The horrific human cost of these attacks finally shattered Japan's will to fight. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito, in a radio address that stunned the nation, announced Japan's unconditional surrender. Section 8. Legacy of the Rising Sun. The Imperial Japanese Army, once a formidable symbol of Japanese pride and ambition, ceased to exist after the devastating defeat in World War II. The surrender marked the end of an era, but the echoes of its existence still reverberate through history. Its legacy, however, continues to cast a long shadow over Japan and the world. The ruins of post-war Japan and the solemn Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park stand as stark reminders of the past. The IJA's brutal wartime conduct, marked by unspeakable atrocities and war crimes, left an indelible stain on Japan's international reputation. Events like the Nanjing Massacre are etched into the collective memory of nations, serving as grim reminders of the horrors of war. Yet the IJA's story is also one of courage, discipline, and sacrifice. The soldiers, driven by a deep sense of duty and loyalty, displayed remarkable resilience and tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds. Millions of Japanese soldiers fought and died for their emperor and their country, often with fanatical bravery. The kamikaze pilots in particular epitomized the extreme lengths to which these soldiers were willing to go, sacrificing their lives in the name of honor and duty. Understanding the IJA, both its triumphs and its failures, is essential to understanding the complex legacy of World War II in Asia. The strategies, decisions, and actions taken by the IJA have been the subject of extensive analysis and debate among historians. The IJA's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked militarism, the seductive allure of nationalistic fervor, and the devastating consequences of war. It highlights the thin line between patriotism and fanaticism, and the catastrophic outcomes when that line is crossed. It is a story that continues to resonate today, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding it. The peace monuments and remembrance ceremonies in Japan serve as a testament to the enduring impact of the IJA's legacy and the collective desire to prevent such tragedies from occurring again. Section 9. Conclusion. The rise and fall of the Japanese Imperial Army was swift and brutal. From its humble beginnings to its meteoric rise and ultimately its crushing defeat, the IJA left an indelible mark on history. It serves as a reminder of the seductive power of militarism and the devastating human cost of unchecked ambition. The IJA's story is a complex tapestry of courage, cruelty, innovation, and ultimately defeat. It is a story that deserves to be remembered, not to glorify war, but to understand its causes and consequences and to strive for a future where such conflicts are consigned to the history books.